Hello, and welcome to another episode of Shaping the Future. I'm Dr. Jeff Gold, and I have the honor of serving as the president of the University of Nebraska system. This series, known as Shaping the Future, celebrates the people who bring our mission to life, those who help our students thrive and contribute to a better future for Nebraska and beyond. Today is exactly that. I'm joined by Sarah Frankel-Russell, Director of Student Advocacy and Support at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Her office helps students navigate challenges, whether personal, academic, financial, or others, through a model grounded in compassion, connection, and collaboration, the 3 C's. Through non-clinical case management and crisis response, Sarah and her team provide a vital safety net for students facing adversity. And today on this segment, we'll explore her journey, the mission of her office, and how building a culture of care can transform lives. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us, and I really appreciate this opportunity. First, our audience always wants to know, what's your background and how did you get interested in this critically important area for our students?
Yeah, so I'm a 2-time alum of the University of Nebraska.
Well, congratulations, and
Thank
thanks
you.
for paying your alumni dues.
Yes, thank you. I did my undergraduate work here and had aspirations of going to law school one day. When I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I decided to take a little time off before pursuing graduate education and found myself working for the Nebraska Supreme Court, which sort of led me into working with the foster youth population. And I consistently heard from the young adults that I was working with that they wanted to go to college, that was an opportunity for them to change the path that they were on. And I thought a lot about my own experience in college and some of the challenges that I faced, and at times what felt like roadblocks, and in hindsight were more like speed bumps. And I was really interested in wanting to give back to the university, to explore processes and policies that felt like barriers for student success, and really create opportunities for students to have equitable chances at success on a college campus, and to have the opportunity to take a college education and make a change in their life.
Well, it's amazing that you've taken this trajectory, because we certainly need you and need others to be aware of this. And you know what our audience may not appreciate is, they may think back to their own, quote, college days, unquote, and, time as a way of dulling the memory of the speed bumps, but somehow you think back of all the wins on the baseball diamond or on the hardwood or on the gridiron. You think about all the great fraternity and sorority events that you've attended. You may even think about, some of the faculty and the advising staff that have inspired you. But in this day and age, certainly, and probably since the very beginning, there have been serious challenges for students that come up. And having a resource where they know that they can go to in a confidential way, where there are ways forward, plans, friendships, people to talk to, really makes a difference. So let's talk about what day-to-day life is like for you, and how broad and how deep does this actually affect the Lincoln undergraduate and graduate community?
Sure. So I can speak to sort of the breadth and depth of the students that we work with. And our motto is that we don't turn any student away. So if there is a student who doesn't really know where else to go, our office serves as sort of a front door for them to come in and speak with one of our case managers to talk about the experience that they're having in an undergraduate or graduate collegiate experience, and to really think about what are the opportunities for us to move forward so that they can accomplish the goals that they have. Oftentimes, students who come to us have hit some experience in their life that has either pushed pause on their academic experience or has slowed things down, and perhaps they don't see a path forward. So it might be an unexpected medical diagnosis, it could be the loss of a parent, it could be significant financial challenges in either paying for college or paying for just living expenses to be able to afford to go to college. And so connecting with a case manager for us to really sort of lay out a strategic plan to assess what their goals are, to get them connected to campus and community resources, and really to make sure that they feel validated in the experience that they are having so that they can be successful in whatever success looks like to them.
And as you think back since you've been engaged in this, what have the trends been? Is this sort of level and, roughly the same number of cases that you might get involved with on a year-to-year basis? Or do you sense that either the frequency, the repetitiveness, or even the severity of the concerns that are being brought forward are actually changing?
I would say that it's twofold. So on the one hand, we are seeing an increase in the number of students that we are serving, and those students are experiencing more significant, more challenging challenges. And so trying to address those challenges to support them with limited resources, while also being very realistic about what it takes to be a college student. And sometimes that means having a really honest conversation about slowing down and maybe taking one course at a time, or pushing pause and focusing on their well-being so that they can come back and be successful in the future, and knowing that connecting with our office is an option to do that when they return to campus. I would say post-COVID, mental health continues to be the largest challenge that we see with our young adult population. But the other piece that has been really rampant within the last year has been the basic needs space, and making sure that students have the basic needs to be able to make sure that they can focus on their academics and not worry about, do I have a place to sleep, or be able to put food on the table, or handle my medical necessities.
Or have a warm coat in the winter.
Correct.
I mean, those are so critical, and over time that has become a larger and larger challenge. You're probably well aware there was a SAMHSA study that was published several years ago that looked at graduating high school students, and this must have been about 2.5 years ago that the study came out. And if I recall the numbers correctly, they said about 48 or 49% of graduating high school students, and they didn't say college-bound high school students, but graduating high school students have either a diagnosis, a mental health diagnosis, or are on medication for some type of behavioral health or mental health challenge. And it just, connecting the dots, that obviously has needs, both medical needs as well as academic needs, moving into the college world. So how do you see the future of this evolving? First of all, do you think the average student at UNL understands that these services are available and that you're really here to help and that you don't turn anybody away? And if so, how could we, and that's one of the reasons we're chatting today, do a better job of making sure that all of our students know? And by the way, faculty and staff as well, because sometimes they're the first recipient of a student that's struggling for one reason or another, and they may not know where best to turn.
Absolutely. I think that you'll resonate with this, that prevention is worth, what is the phrase? An
ounce of prevention is worth
a pound of cure. Right. So the earlier
possibly even a kilo.
That's right. So the earlier that we can get in front of our incoming students, either prospective or when they're here for orientation, letting parents know about us as a resource, and especially our faculty and staff, like you said, they're the ones that are really sort of on the ground with students and are noticing behavioral changes, whether a student has stopped coming to class or turning in assignments, or maybe there's been a marked change in behavior and they're concerned about a student, and so referring them to our office. We've done a great deal of education across campus through our peer mentors, student leaders, because we also know that students trust one another. And so if a fellow student has had a positive experience working with us and can refer another student to say, this is an office where there is no judgment and they are open to serve any student that comes to them. And then we really are sort of the problem solvers. We want to be sort of a one-stop shop so students don't have to think about which resource do I access and what questions do I ask. Our role is really to help advocate for the student who can't do the advocating for themselves in that moment, but also to help students learn the skill of self-advocacy, because that's a skill that they'll take with them when they leave the university as well.
Great. And so if our students or families, and I think this is something that families of incoming students would want to know exists as a safety net for their loved ones, because, at the end of the day, we need to not only provide a quality educational experience, but a quality life experience and a safe life experience for our students. And given the demands and the complexity of college life and in the world we live in, there's so much uncertainty that knowing that there are people like yourselves and a service that's set up to handle this is so reassuring. And so if families or students want more information, is there a website or a place that they can go?
Yes, they can visit studentadvocacy.unl.edu, where they can either make a referral to our office, the student they're concerned about. They can learn about the services that we offer, as well as if they're interested in sort of helping our mission, there is a place to donate to the Student Hardship Fund as well.
Super. Well, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for all that you do. And to our audience, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Shaping the Future. We'll see you next time.